How do you speak and record yourself if you're shy? I got this question from someone who heard me talking about recording your own audiobook, and they wondered, what do you do if you're the type of person who you hit the record button and it's like, uh-oh, things just got real. You find yourself feeling a little flustered and not totally calm, confident, and at ease. Well, I have a few tips here to help you if you ever face this situation, whether you're recording an audiobook or recording a video or doing anything on recording. And the first piece of advice is going to be very Captain Obvious type of advice. It's going to be something, it's not going to be a shocking revelation, but it's important nonetheless. Then I give some practical tips on implementing it. The last thing I'm going to share with you, though, is highly unconventional. It's probably about the last thing you'd expect someone to tell you to do. And that's precisely why it's so powerful. Most people would never think to do it, and that's why they get stuck. So first of all, though, let's go with the Captain Obvious advice, and that is practice. Yeah, you just got to practice. I know it's probably a pretty obvious sort of thing, but the thing is, the more you get practice, the more comfortable you're going to get. And in psychotherapy, there's this concept of exposure therapy to get over a phobia. So someone was scared of snakes, how could they get over it? Well, one way, maybe you just show them a picture of a snake. And they see a picture and they kind of freak out a little bit. But as they look at the picture long enough, they calm down. And maybe it's a black and white kind of grainy picture. And they're like, I can kind of look at that and I'm okay. Then they see a picture and then you see a more menacing snake. And eventually they kind of get comfortable enough with that. And then maybe you bring in a live snake, but it's, 30 feet away, someone's holding a snake. And they go, don't get any closer. And I can't handle anymore. But then their nervous system starts to calm down. And they're like, okay, I'm okay. And it's like, okay, take a few steps forward. So the person comes and they get within 20 feet and they go, nope, stop, don't get any closer. They're freaked out, but their nervous system calms down. Eventually they get more and more comfortable getting closer and closer. And then they might actually be able to reach a point where they can actually hold the snake and touch the snake. They just had to expose themselves and, kind of reorient their nervous system. Okay. So it's a similar concept when it comes to getting over many other phobias or fears. There's a lot of different tactics and techniques. There's some things that can go right to the root of the issue and just kind of dissolve a lot of that energy. So this is a little bit more of a, time-oriented process. Nevertheless, it's going to help you to practice anyway. So you might as well just get started doing it. And I have a couple tips to get going because I get it. Some people might go, well, Derek, that's great telling me just to do it. But the issue is, I don't feel like I can even get started practicing because I don't feel totally confident and comfortable right now, even getting started. So what you need to do, or what you can do, is just break it down and ask yourself this question. Can I just, and then find the simplest, easiest, most, low pressure, easy to do thing that you can. So for some people, that might be, can I just practice the speaking without hitting the record button? Someone might say, can I just hit the record? Can I just record 5 seconds and then stop? Or you can make a rule like, can I just record 10 seconds, hit stop and delete immediately afterwards? See, what if you told yourself, no one has to hear this. In fact, I'm not even going to keep the recording. I'm going to record it, but I'm going to delete it immediately afterwards. Now, obviously, that's not a long-term strategy, but as a stepping stone, you go, I can record it. I'm going to delete it. In fact, I must delete it. No one is going to hear it. I'm not even going to listen back to it myself. You might be able to do that. What if you just record yourself going, hi, this is me recording myself, and now I'm going to delete it. And then you stop it and you hit delete, or whatever it is, right? So you find these micro steps that you gradually get more and more comfortable. And that might mean just recording yourself a number of times and deleting it immediately until eventually you go, you know what, this is kind of silly. You almost want to get to the point where it's ridiculous. And then you go, okay, well, I can record it and I can keep it. I'm not going to play it for anyone. Okay. But I'll keep it. Maybe if it's not too, if it's okay, I'll keep it, but I'm not going to play it. It's not going to go out into the world. Well, that might be your next step. Then your next step might be, you record it and then you're going to listen back to it and go, maybe I feel comfortable enough to share it with a close friend and get their feedback. And I'm not going to play it for anyone else, but I'll play it for a close friend. And as you see, you just gradually ramp up what you're willing to do. Okay. So this is the idea of exposure therapy. You give yourself small steps. And I used to be a really shy kid. Okay. Now I didn't like being called shy. My parents, people would be like, oh, he's so shy. And I hated that. I'm like, I'm not shy. I just don't have anything to say to you. If you're an introvert, you can probably relate. It's like, it's not my job to entertain you. So that being said, looking back as an adult, I was really quiet, and I was, I wouldn't feel really that comfortable talking to people, especially strangers. And I made a conscious effort, through, especially I remember a time in college where I would just challenge myself sometimes to just look someone in the eye a little longer, or say, hey, my name's Derek, how's your day going, or whatever. And I remember I'd give myself challenges to go out there and just, talk to people, even just saying hi or going up to someone and striking up a conversation. So I had to work into that. And one of the things there is it was just that exposure therapy and gradually ramping up. And another thing is I rejected that identity of shy. So if you say to yourself, I'm a shy person, be like, I used to have the habit of shyness. Or yeah, I'm shy in some situations, and in other situations, you might be totally confident. Okay. So we're not this identity. Unless your name is shy, then you're not shy. And even if your name is shy, you're more than your name. Okay. So separating it and just realizing that's just a habit, and your habits can change. Getting flustered was just a behavior, and that's a behavior that you can now go from flustered to at ease and smooth or confident or graceful, or pick the word of choice that you would like to adopt. Now, that being said, let's go into what is probably the last thing you'd expect me to recommend. And what I want you to do, if you have this issue, when you go record, your goal is to be as nervous as possible. I want you to try to be nervous. I want you to try to get flustered. I want you to do a recording where you are as awkward and weird and flustered and nervous as you can possibly be. I want you to amplify it. I want you to be like a character, like Nervous Nelly or someone. And it's kind of stumbling over your words. You're acting, you get into it almost to the point where it's ridiculous. Like you're a skit in a comedy skit. And this might seem a little odd, but it actually makes sense, because what happens is if someone is feeling nervous and they're trying to not feel nervous, and then they're thinking about how nervous they're sounding, but they're trying to not be nervous, and then they get all in their head about it, then they're resisting what's showing up. What if you actually went into it? What if you actually went into it even more than came up naturally, and you do a take where you're recording and you're going, this is my nervous take. And if you find yourself starting to feel more confident, more at ease, and it's actually starting to sound good, you need to go, whoa, I got to go back to being more nervous here. That was starting to sound too good. I can't have that. You can have yourself sound good. You got to be nervous on this take, right? And you now actually might find that you go so into it that eventually it just falls away. You just go, okay, now I can just have some fun with it. And you don't take it so seriously. And this gives you not just permission to feel a little flustered or feel a little nervous, but you actually embrace it. You utilize it. You make it a part of the process. Okay. Now, just like deleting your recordings isn't a long-term solution, obviously, eventually you want to get to a point where you will have takes that you are feeling at ease and you're good. These are a stepping stone process, and it will eventually allow you to gain that practice, gain that experience, gain familiarity with the process, till eventually you're feeling more at ease than ever. You're more confident than ever. And you might even find that you actually have a lot of fun.